This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
My name is Secondary Jibril, Gombe Secondary School. So panel, I will actually basically start with what is important in this debate to show you what opposition actually tells us. They tell us that they break our parameters simply because they feel like a problem that is faced on a global scale should be handled on that stage. What do we tell you? We tell you that why we think it is better to handle it on a Ugandan level. We have MDCs and LDCs. There is less likelihood that countries like China that already have measures that can protect them from problems of global warming will actually be incentivized to protect a country like Uganda. Whereas a country like Uganda will be more incentivized to actually protect its people because people rely on this agriculture to survive. A country like Uganda, where we tell you that it is this agriculture that is their backbone, we think it is best to protect the forests. Panel C, this is what we tell you. We've lost these forests and we have this. This is what all the 48 million people are looking onto. So if we don't really come up as Uganda and protect the little that we have, when will the world come to join us? That means by the time they really come up on board, we will have lost everything. They tell us that, panel, what they call onto as their house basing on the UN Forest Forum, thinking that there will be more of a way to hold these governments accountable. I want to push a question to them. Who will hold the UN accountable for its failures? Because these failures have been in status quo, but MDCs that dominate the supreme states, unless they do not actually caution them. So we think it is an idea that we need to save the African or the Ugandan at his level of development, because at the end of the day, these states or these big governments have more of an incentive to do whatsoever they can to protect from anything that might come from the ICC, because at the end of the day, most of these bodies rely on ideologies that come from MDCs. To take you through our case, panel, to tell you more, Guma tells you that, panel, what we see in status quo is we rely so much on the forests, given that if we have a change in the rain cycle, there is less likelihood that our agriculture will be sustained. That's why we need to protect our forests from the problems that are actually caused by these companies. We tell you that it is very much important for us to understand that in this world, or as per status quo, if we are losing a lot that we are supposed to have, as Guma tells you that we at least lose about 10 pitches of forests every day, that means we are in a problem, which means we need to really protect our side. To still show you more of our case, we tell you that, panel, developed countries made mistakes in the past when they really failed to protect forests. We cannot as well repeat those very mistakes. We tell you that what they are calling for, or what they say in their case, that they will actually, the second speaker says that these governments should actually get alternative sources of energy. We told you in our policy that we are looking onto funding sustainable energy in these countries so that people get this as an alternative to rely on, which means that what they actually called for is a benefit we have in our side, unlike what they actually think. We need to, the speaker that will come will really need to tell us how practical their world is, because our world is in a direction that protects ideas or interests of the people, majority of the people, given that we are relying on a state, unlike where they have a body that handles a very big problem. The fact that the problems that affect Uganda as Uganda, though we might get problems or other states contributing, we can't take it to that. They said that the government is not acting, but I think this is lack of update. As per when actually this year was starting, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni instructed the Prime Minister Robin Anabanja to ban all illegal timber exportation companies. That was in June 2023, according to NTV. 40 companies lost their licenses. They talk about the idea of companies. What you need to understand is companies care about their reputation and they would not really want to lose their licenses.
Gentlemen, we are talking about companies, not people. First of all, they talked about low development countries such as Uganda. Us, we are coming as the United Nations Forum on Forests, and the source of the money, we are going to get it from World Bank. It is very impractical for a low development country to carry out all what they are saying. Ladies and gentlemen, they continue to blame our parameters, which are the world. But they have to know that global warming caused by deforestation is an issue of global concern. Ladies and gentlemen, to continue, only 18% of forest land is protected from deforestation. Only 18% by law. This is negligence and complacency by governments. How can we now trust governments which have already failed at their job? Ladies and gentlemen, governments have freely given away forest land to all sorts of investors. And we are blaming the companies? Governments are rather complacent. For example, in the National Environment Management Act online portal, Budongo Forest was all cleared and cut down just to give land to investors. Aljazeera.com has it that the government of Uganda has given away Bugoma Forest to Hoima Sugar Company. Ladies and gentlemen, governments have failed to control entry and importation of goods related
POI
to...
speaker on the floor.
Granted.
How are you going to hold your house accountable after you saying that the government has failed?
That is why we as the United Nations Forum on Forests are coming to scrutinize through what the governments have failed to do and put them on pressure, positive pressure, to actually implement these laws. Ladies and gentlemen, British Columbia in the world is a leader in forest preservation. All the companies in British Columbia which have one of the world's highest timber consumption have actually balanced between these two. Ladies and gentlemen, companies are not the problem because they are both in British Columbia. We are conserving both the forests, and ladies and gentlemen, they are still exploiting the forests. Ladies and gentlemen, when pressure was put on Uganda when they attacked Congo by the International Criminal Court, this pressure yielded positive results. Maybe we should go to it as an answer to our problems. Ladies and gentlemen, Kajil is one of the leading companies in the world that they asked about. We have IKEA. But these companies, ladies and gentlemen, have been accepted by their governments. They have been licensed continuously. And their activities are under the government. A public limited company is an artificial person that has been licensed and has this government's approval to do all the activities they do. Ladies and gentlemen, companies are under governments. If we look at the bigger picture here, who's promoting the deforestation? It is actually the government.
POI speaker on the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, they came and gave us Uganda as a low development country. Uganda as a low development country has also failed to manage the results of their increasing population. Ladies and gentlemen, 14.4 million hectares of land have been cleared just to settle refugees. That is even increasing on the population they already have. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe that the high population in low development countries, we can blame the governments for this and put them on positive pressure to actually enable these companies to do what they are supposed to do, but not to scrutinize them, rather to regulate, to draw a fine line on where they must end, not to hold them accountable, because the true criminal here are the governments around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, they kept telling us about sensitization. Everyone already knows about this global pandemic, deforestation, global warming, but we are not against it. Ladies and gentlemen, all we are saying is that let us look at it from the wider point of view. The governments that have failed at their job, we are going to make sure that as the International Criminal Court, we put them on pressure, and if they fail at this, we are going to put sanctions, bans, such that countries can realize the gravity of this situation. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we rest our case.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.